My beloved child, stop scrolling for a second and just listen carefully. This message is not meant to scare you, and it is not something that should be taken as a literal threat or countdown. Instead, it is a reminder to pause and think about your life right now. Messages like this are often symbolically connected with Archangel Micheal, who in many traditions represents courage, awareness, and clarity. The idea behind such a message is not that something magical will happen in exactly 2 minutes, but that moments of awareness can feel urgent because they push you to reflect on what truly matters. Right now, think about your current situation. Are you fully satisfied with the direction your life is going, or do you feel that something needs to change? Many people ignore that inner feeling again and again, telling themselves they will think about it later. But later often becomes weeks, months, or even years. That is why messages like this create a sense of urgency, not to pressure you, but to make you stop and actually pay attention. The symbolism connected with Archangel Micheal often encourages people to face truth with courage. Truth means being honest with yourself about your goals, your habits, and the areas of your life that need improvement. Courage means accepting that change might require effort, discipline, and stepping out of your comfort zone. You might already know what needs to change. Maybe it is a habit that is holding you back. Maybe it is a goal you have been delaying. Maybe it is a decision you have been avoiding because it feels difficult. Whatever it is, that awareness is important. Ignoring it does not make it disappear, it only delays your progress. Another important part of this message is understanding that real change does not happen instantly. It begins with a decision. The decision to improve, to take action, and to stop postponing what you know is important. Even small steps taken consistently can lead to significant results over time. Messages symbolically linked with Archangel Micheal often represent strength and protection. Strength means believing that you are capable of improving your situation. Protection means making choices that lead you toward a better future instead of repeating patterns that hold you back. Instead of focusing on the idea of a countdown or a threat, focus on the opportunity this moment gives you. You have the chance to reflect, to reset your mindset, and to start moving in a direction that aligns with your goals. Take a deep breath and ask yourself one simple question: what is one thing I can do today to improve my life? It does not have to be something big. It could be starting a task you have been avoiding, learning something new, or making a decision you have been delaying. Because sometimes the most important changes in life do not come from outside messages, they come from the moment you decide to stop ignoring your own potential and start taking action. If you are still listening, then take a moment to slow down and think more deeply about what this message is really asking from you. Messages like this are often symbolically connected with Archangel Micheal, not as a literal warning or threat, but as a reminder that moments of awareness can feel urgent when your life is ready for change. The idea of "only a few minutes left" is not about time running out. It reflects how often people delay important decisions even when they know something needs to change. Think about how many times you have told yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," or "I'll fix this later." Those delays slowly become habits, and over time they can hold you back from reaching your full potential. This message is pushing you to break that cycle. It is asking you to stop waiting for the perfect moment and to start taking responsibility for your direction right now. The symbolism connected with Archangel Michael often represents courage and clarity. Courage means facing the reality of your situation honestly, even if it feels uncomfortable. Clarity means understanding what truly matters to you and what steps are necessary to move forward. You may already feel a sense of restlessness inside, a feeling that you are capable of more than what you are currently doing. That feeling is important. It is often the first sign that growth is waiting for you. But growth only happens when you choose to act on it. Another important idea in this message is that change does not come from outside forces. It comes from your decisions. Many people wait for a sign, a miracle, or the perfect opportunity, but real transformation usually begins when you decide to take even a small step in the right direction. Messages symbolically associated with Archangel Michael often emphasize inner strength. That strength is not something you need to find somewhere else. It is something you have already been building through your experiences. Every challenge you have faced has prepared you to handle the next step in your journey. Right now, instead of thinking about what might happen if you ignore this message, think about what could happen if you take action. What would your life look like if you started focusing on your goals seriously? What could change if you stopped delaying the things that matter most? Even a small decision made today can begin shifting your direction. It could be starting a habit that improves your daily routine, learning a skill that brings new opportunities, or making a choice that moves you closer to your long-term goals. Take this moment as a turning point. Not because something external is forcing you, but because you are choosing to move forward. You are choosing to stop ignoring your own potential and start using it. Because sometimes the biggest change in life begins with a simple realization: the time to act is not later, it is now. If you are still here, then this is where the message becomes even more important, not because of urgency or fear, but because of clarity. Messages symbolically connected with Archangel Michael are often described as moments when a person is being pushed to recognize something they have been ignoring for a long time. Not something magical, not something outside of you, but something within you that already knows what needs to change. Think about your life honestly for a second. There is at least one area where you already know you are not giving your full effort. It could be your goals, your discipline, your habits, or even your mindset. And the truth is, you don't need anyone to tell you what it is. You already feel it. That quiet voice inside you has been repeating the same thing again and again, but you may have been choosing to ignore it. This message is not here to threaten you. The symbolism connected with Archangel Michael often represents truth and strength. Truth means accepting where you currently stand without making excuses. Strength means deciding that you are ready to improve, even if the process feels uncomfortable. Most people wait for motivation to come before they take action. But motivation is not reliable, it comes and goes. What actually creates change is decision. The moment you decide that something must change, your behavior begins to shift. You stop negotiating with your distractions. You stop delaying what you know is important. You might feel resistance right now. That is normal. Growth always feels uncomfortable in the beginning because it forces you to step outside of what is familiar. But that discomfort is not a sign to stop, it is a sign that you are moving in the right direction. Messages symbolically associated with Archangel Michael often highlight discipline as a form of inner protection. Discipline protects your time, your focus, and your future. It helps you avoid the patterns that keep you stuck and moves you toward the life you actually want. Ask yourself this: if nothing changes, where will you be 1 year from now? Will you be closer to your goals, or still thinking about starting? That question matters more than any 2-minute countdown. Because the real countdown is not measured in minutes, it is measured in how long you keep postponing your own growth. Right now, you have a choice. You can close this and continue as usual, or you can take one small action that moves you forward. Not tomorrow. Not later. Now that it does not have to be big. It just has to be real, because sometimes the most powerful moment in a person's life is not when they receive a message, it is when they finally decide to stop ignoring what they already know. If you are still here, then this is where everything becomes even clearer. This message is no longer about urgency, it is about realization. Messages symbolically connected with Archangel Michael are often described as moments when a person stops running from their own truth and finally faces it directly. Right now, you don't need another sign. You don't need another message. You don't need to wait for the right time. Because deep down, you already know what needs to change. Think about it honestly. There is something in your life that you have been delaying again and again. Maybe it is a goal you keep postponing. Maybe it is a habit you know is damaging your progress. Maybe it is a decision you have been avoiding because it feels difficult. And every time you ignore it, you feel that small sense of discomfort, but then you distract yourself and move on. That cycle has been repeating. The symbolism connected with Archangel Michael often represents clarity and accountability. Clarity means seeing your situation exactly as it is, not better, not worse. Accountability means accepting that only you have the power to change it. This is the part most people avoid, because it is easier to wait. It is easier to blame circumstances. It is easier to tell yourself that you will start later. But later is the biggest trap. It keeps you comfortable in the present while slowly taking away your future potential, and this message is breaking that illusion. Messages symbolically associated with Archangel Michael often push people toward discipline. Not motivation. Not temporary excitement. But real discipline, the kind that makes you act even when you don't feel like it. Because discipline is what creates results. You don't need to change everything today. But you do need to start. Even the smallest action breaks the cycle of delay. It sends a signal to your mind that you are serious this time. Maybe it is starting that task you have been avoiding, maybe it is removing a distraction that wastes your time, maybe it is committing to a routine that moves you forward. Whatever it is, you already know, and that's the truth this message is trying to make you face. Take a moment and imagine your life if you actually follow through this time. If you stay consistent. If you stop quitting halfway. If you keep going even when it gets difficult, that version of you is possible, but only if you decide, because in the end, this was never about a warning, it was about a choice. You are still here, still reading, still giving your attention to this moment, then understand that this is not just another message passing through your screen. This is a pause, a rare pause in the constant noise of life where you are being asked to face yourself honestly. Messages symbolically connected with Archangel Michael are often described as moments of awakening, not because something supernatural is about to happen outside of you, but because something important is trying to happen within you. And the truth is, you have felt this before. That quiet discomfort, that inner voice, that subtle awareness that something in your life is not aligned with who you are capable of becoming. You have ignored it, postponed it, distracted yourself from it, but it has never completely disappeared. Think about your current life with complete honesty. Not the version you show to others. Not the version you tell yourself when you want to feel comfortable. But the real version, the one you feel when you are alone, when there are no distractions, when there is nothing to hide behind. Are you truly giving your full effort toward your goals? Are your daily habits helping you move forward, or are they quietly keeping you stuck in the same place? Are you using your time in a way that builds your future, or are you spending it in ways that only provide temporary comfort? These are not easy questions, and that is exactly why most people avoid asking them. The symbolism connected with Archangel Michael often represents truth, clarity, and courage. Truth means facing your reality without filters or excuses. Clarity means understanding exactly what needs to change. And courage means having the strength to act on that understanding, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it requires effort, even when it forces you to leave behind the habits and patterns that feel familiar. Right now, there is something in your life that you already know needs your attention. It might be a goal you have been delaying for months or even years. It might be a habit that is slowly damaging your progress. It might be a decision you have been avoiding because it feels difficult or uncertain. Whatever it is, You do not need anyone else to point it out, you already feel why this moment matters. Not because of a countdown, not because of a warning, but because of awareness. Most people wait for motivation before they take action. They tell themselves that they will start when they feel ready, when they feel inspired, when everything feels perfect. But the truth is, motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. If you depend on it, you will keep starting and stopping again and again. Real change does not come from motivation, it comes from decision. The moment you decide that something must change, your behavior begins to shift. You stop negotiating with your distractions. You stop making excuses. You start doing what needs to be done, even when you do not feel like it. This is where discipline enters your life. And discipline is not something negative, it is one of the most powerful forms of self-respect. When you choose discipline, you are choosing your future over your comfort. You are choosing growth over delay. You are choosing to become the person you know you can be, instead of staying the person you have been. Messages symbolically associated with Archangel Michael often emphasize this idea of inner strength. Not the kind of strength that appears in dramatic moments, but the kind that shows up in your daily actions. The strength to wake up and do what you said you would do. The strength to stay consistent when results are not immediately visible. The strength to continue even when it feels easier to quit. Think about where you will be if nothing changes. 1 year from now, will you still be thinking about starting? Will you still be stuck in the same patterns, the same habits, the same excuses? Or will you be able to look back and say that this was the moment you finally took control of your direction? Because that is what this is really about, control. Not control over everything in life, because that is not possible. But control over your actions, your habits, your decisions. And those are the things that shape your future more than anything else. You do not need to change everything today. You do not need to become perfect overnight. That is not realistic, and it is not necessary. What matters is that you start. Even the smallest action taken right now has more power than a perfect plan that never begins. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. And confidence makes it easier to continue. Maybe your first step is small. Maybe it is starting a task you have been avoiding. Maybe it is removing a distraction that wastes your time. Maybe it is committing to a simple routine that moves you forward. It does not matter how small it seems. What matters is that it is real. Because every big transformation begins with small, consistent actions. The problem is, most people underestimate those small actions. They think they do not matter. They think real change requires something big, something dramatic. But the truth is, your life is shaped by what you do repeatedly. Your habits create your results. Your daily choices create your future. So if you change your daily choices, even slightly, you begin changing your direction. The symbolism connected with Archangel Michael also represents protection, but not in the way most people imagine. It is not about being saved from outside problems. It is about protecting yourself from your own patterns. Protecting your time from distractions. Protecting your focus from things that do not matter. Protecting your future from the. You are still here, still reading, then this is the point where everything becomes completely real. This is no longer just a message, no longer just words flowing in front of your eyes. This is the moment where you either continue the same pattern you have always followed, or you finally break it. Messages symbolically connected with Archangel Michael are often described as the final stage of awareness, the stage where understanding turns into action, or disappears back into delay. And the truth is, most people reach this stage many times in their life, but very few actually cross it. Right now, you are standing at that exact point. You have already reflected. You have already understood. You have already felt that inner push. But none of that matters if you do nothing with it. This is the part people don't like to hear. Because thinking feels productive, but it isn't. Planning feels like progress, but it isn't. Even understanding your problems does not change your life unless it is followed by action. And this is where most people stop. They think, they feel, they understand, and then they go back to their usual routine as if nothing happened. That is the cycle. And if you are honest, you have been in that cycle before. You get a moment of clarity, you feel motivated, you promise yourself that things will change, and then slowly, over time, that feeling fades. Distractions return. Old habits come back. And you find yourself exactly where you started. This message is here to break that pattern. The symbolism connected with Archangel Michael often represents decisive action. Not waiting. Not overthinking. Not hesitating. But acting, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when you are unsure, even when it is not perfect.